Hello, everybody, and welcome to our stream today. Everything is in shambles. Not in a bad way. I don't think of the camera right. I don't think of a lot of things right. One sec. I like how it autofocused on my arm. I'm just like, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's where we're going. Welcome to the show for the first time. Streaming. Ooh la la. On Instagram Live. That was part of why I'm late today, because I was trying to figure this out. Also, I've got the young Squisherman here today, because he would not be tricked today. He would not go into the room. He would not go into that quiet night. He decided he wanted to be live, which is gonna make it a bit of a chaos show. We'll see what happens, because as they like to do, they like to just like hang out in front and think to themselves, why are you talking to this weird box? Why are you not paying attention to me? The Squisherman. Well, I'm hoping everything's streaming okay everywhere. I hope you are all able to check things out and leave comments. I don't know what happens with Instagram comments. If anyone does Instagram Live, definitely check it out. Definitely leave me a comment so that I know if it's working or not. Because I've got no idea, since it's the first for there. We've got a lot to talk about. I am going to be starting out with a bit of diamond news. So I've switched what I end up calling the streams here. And okay, no, not on the mouse pad, because you might turn off the stream, buddy. Thank you. Decided to switch up what the stream is called. Some of it's a little bit based off of feedback that I've gotten from social media consulting for this past month. For the next 2 months, I've been I've got a contract to basically have someone consult on our social media stuff. You should see the effects of that in December, to talk about some stuff. And it also got me thinking of kind of how I approach the stream and everything like that. It's been a while since I've had a co-host, and I really do want to gear that up in the new year, because like just me talking, I'm not a fan of me. So that puts me in a certain headspace. But generally speaking, like a lot of successful things out there are, you know, a two-hander. People who can interact with each other. So there's going to be some stuff happening in the new year in regards to that. But also the little thing I want to do now is sort of have some more engaging topics while I am solo, basically, on here. And one of them is the stuff that's been happening with Diamond lately, because folks, I can't stress how wild it is. All right. I might have to do something about this co-host here, because these strings are causing trouble. Mr. Sir, come on. Thank you. See how long that lasts. Hey. All right. Where was I? Got distracted by cats and checking to see what's going on with Instagram Live and if the comments end up coming through. I have no idea. Instagram Live seems to be on a weird bit of a delay, so we'll see what happens here when the feed catches up. Something I really want to talk about right off the hop is the wild stuff that's been happening with Diamond. Now, for those of you who don't know, Diamond Comics was at one point in time, and for about 25-30 years, the comic book distributor. If you wanted to get comics, you had to go through them. except for the select amount of titles that were available to the newsstand. Now, during COVID, during the hard times, I should say, things got pretty rough. Diamond basically stopped distributing entirely. We were given very little notice, and they also stopped paying their vendors. So folks like Image Comics and, well, pretty much everybody, DC, Marvel, all along the line, stopped getting payment. Now, I know about Image specifically because I was listening to an off-panel interview with Ed Brubaker that David Harper does from way back in the day. At the time, he basically said so, that folks who were in less of a position than him could not get paid by Image. And that's bad news, because Image was not getting any money in. So at that point in time, it really changed the landscape of distribution. Understandably, they stopped distributing comics, but in terms of prose book publishers, if they were on that scale, we're at the absolute worst end, because Scholastic kept going, Penguin kept going, Simon & Schuster kept going. The worst was maybe Hachette, where if you wanted to reorder a book, you had to order it by the case. Again, understandable, because they didn't want people going around having to pick things when it was the deep pandemic and all the restrictions were in place. Everyone else sort of made do with longer time frames, and new product was picked just fine, because that's how things go. But Diamond shut down completely. Diamond almost shut down the entire industry. It does look like I am not seeing Instagram live comments on here, just so you know. But I am going back and forth. Hi, Andrea. I say a sup to you too. I wander off sometimes. So the Diamond stops distributing. Diamond stops paying people. And this causes a wild cascade. They were the comics distributor. And then at the slightest bit of crumble, they cave. I say slightest. It was a pretty big bit of crumble, I will admit. But when you have everyone else who is distributing, say, periodicals, books, graphic novels, etc., weathering the storm and being able to go through, and then there's this shutdown, complete stoppage. I don't know what happened exactly with magazine distributors, but I suppose I was gonna say like, oh well, but I bet that continued. I don't know, but magazines haven't stopped coming out. The release dates haven't started changing. Right now, it's a couple of years after the fact, and Diamond has lost the main distribution rights of DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, Dark Horse, IDW, pretty soon Boom, and a lot of other publishers have diversified, such as Vault and Oni Press. Two reasons why I think they're not in the like premium category of Diamond. Boom was bought by Penguin, and so at the end of their contract with Diamond, they're gone. They're really struggling, and part of those struggles happened to be the fact that Diamond has now gone from having many warehouses, not just in the States, but in Canada, to one single warehouse. A lot of you might not know, but back in the day, there was a full Diamond warehouse here in Edmonton. And that's actually one of the reasons why I think the Edmonton market is so robust as it is, because a lot of comics is such inertia. Having a warehouse in the city where you could go and pick up restock if you would like, if you're out of things, is huge in order to get traction. Now, Diamond has been shutting down warehouses for quite some time. For a few years lately, they've been down to 2, and now they are down to 1. And Edmonton has gone from having a full warehouse to having a drop point where we could pick up stuff. Canadian product was distributed them after the Canadian warehouses, in addition to Edmonton, dropped out to a warehouse in Toronto that would distribute to the rest of Canada, and then other drop points that would distribute to smaller centers. So Calgary had one, Edmonton had one, a bunch of places had one, but they've been slowly shutting them down. And now that Diamond is down to 1 warehouse as of this week officially, there are no longer drop points in Canada, full stop. And they shut down a few drop points in the States. Now, what does that mean for us here? Well, this week, it means we don't have any Diamond product right now. But that's not the worst of it. For the past 3 weeks, there have been delays in almost every title from Boom and Dynamite. Their entire runs, basically, have to ship a week later than planned, which is pretty rough when you're, generally speaking, independent companies trying to sell comic books. I should know, because I'm an independent company selling comic books. When there's disruptions, that causes problems with cash flow. And so that's kind of trickled through to this week, where this is the first week that they're down to the 1 warehouse where they have no drop points in Canada. There's no product here. We got a message on Monday that said, generally speaking, we are going to have things shipped up to, we're going to have things shipped to Toronto by Thursday, so that you can get to everybody by Tuesday. That's the main point, is everyone should be getting their product by Tuesday at the latest. Well, we got a message on Monday that the product got to Toronto on Monday, which means we're going to get our product, if I'm extremely lucky and nothing's gone wrong, Wednesday. I'd be shocked. I'd be flabbergasted. Generally speaking, I'm expecting Thursday, Friday, because it's 10 on Monday. It's not sent out on Monday. It's all of this product for the entirety of Canada, shipping to Toronto, that needs to be shipped out to all the various places. So Diamond is already late on their first week of product. And not only are they late on their first week of product, the entirety of our bill for this week was not for product from this week. It was reorders that we should have gotten already, and it was stuff that was supposed to ship last week. Diamond shipped out an extensive list of things that they regret are shipping late, including previews. Previews is their catalog that tells everybody what's coming out in a few months. It's what we do orders from. I have catalogs from IDW. I have catalogs from Image, who have started printing out their own again, because Diamond is really stopped. They've printed a lot of what's been available for them from Image. I have Marvel. I also have DC. Didn't grab that one, actually. That's something that needs to be remedied tomorrow, because the DC stuff is here. And I had some piles made, basically, just in case people did want to get a jump start on things without the previews magazine. Everybody else has this on lock. I understand there's a bit of a change happening right now. But when you were the source for comics when you're the only place to get comics from. And you get down to the point where you can barely get your own product out. The magazine that you produce is late. Your catalog could not be shipped on time. You are a week behind with most of your vendors. And for folks who have been lazy and have not moved their distribution elsewhere for Marvel and Image, Dark Horse, and IDW, a huge chunk of those books are going to be late for you, which will affect you so much. It's just bad. Also, on top of that, a retailer noticed a little bit ago that Diamond was 4 to 6 months late shipping anything from Hachette, which includes Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which is a huge book. Diamond folks have been waiting for 2 months for the newest volume, amongst a lot of other things. Now, it's funny that it took 4 to 6 months for retailers to notice this, because a lot of the retailers who would be buying these things through Diamond don't really pay attention to graphic novel manga and graphic novels like, say, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which is one of the biggest books in the industry. It is currently sitting at number 3 on the bestsellers list for independent comic book or independent bookstores, sourced through our point of sale book manager. That's pretty big because it's not just comic retailers. It's a small amount of comic retailers, but mostly book retailers. Not getting your number 3 title in hand. That's not good, right? Yeah. So bad things afoot, basically. Trouble. There's trouble, my friends, right here in River City, which I love to say, because not only is it a weird Music Man reference, it is a very Edmonton reference. So yeah, I'm a little frustrated. When we do get our Diamond product in, honestly, because there's next to nothing new in it, I'm going to hold it for next week, because I don't know if it's going to get here Thursday or Friday. Thursday, I'm off doing a book fair for an elementary school. Friday is long enough afterwards that if people were coming in to get their new releases on the Monday, Thursday, like, there's no reason for me to just be like, oh, and there's this small handful of stuff that's also there. Might as well just process it next week and save me a considerable amount of time for not as much product, because, like I said, they've lost DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, the biggest companies that would probably represent at least 75 to 80% of the industry. They are not their main distributors anymore. They are wholesalers at best for those, and they're not even getting all of their customers those books this week. There will be some stores in this city, there will be some stores around that will not have the biggest titles of the week in hand. They won't have all the covers of the biggest titles of this week in hand, which really affects those books. Like, it's just bad. It's just bad. And so, yeah, I'm cranky. I'm being a little bit of a jerk about things, but what? It's cranky times, friends. It's cranky times. All right, I've got a Squisherman doing another appearance. We'll see how long this lasts before it causes the troubles. I know that the troubles were particularly hard for Ireland, and they will be probably equally as hard here as they happen, because it's so hard running a stream All right, friends. To start off, we've got West Coast Avengers. They're back there on the West Coast. There's some weird stuff happening here. Mr. Man. Okay, no. I love you. I love you so much. Again, we'll see how long that lasts. There's some wild stuff happening here. It is a new Jerry Duggan book. He is responsible for a bit of the core of the X-Men line at the tail end of Krakoa, and he is doing some big ideas here, including having Ultron on the team. You might know Ultron as being a bad dude, and he is. That's no spoilers for this. There's some circumstances here that are very comic-y and fairly convoluted, but Jerry Duggan does a really good job of describing circumstances and making things go. It does have a very West Coast feel, and it does have a very different feel from what the Avengers book is doing now, which I think is very important when you're doing a line to diversify kind of the ideas that you're having here. We also have The Serpent in the Garden. It's a new Edward Gray Hellboy universe title from Mr. Mike Mignola and Ben Steinbeck. This continues some of the ideas that were happening in the Hellboy universe. I know a lot of people is fairly deep into this line. I would not necessarily recommend this to a fresh reader, but folks have been clamoring for fresh Hellboy content for a while because there's been a drought for a little bit. And people started asking me, well, Hellboy stuff is back. It's here. There's 3 issues coming your way. We have the first issue of Justice League Unlimited from Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This is a high-octane Justice League series coming out from the big Absolute Power events. The basic things that you need to know are the Justice League has gone through a tough time in that they stopped existing due to were shortcomings. And what they realized through the last big event was there actually needs to be more communication, more connectivity. So Justice League Unlimited is a series where they're building connections between ideas, building specific teams for specific problems, and really opening the membership to a lot of members so that they can kind of fine-tune different fights. This does build to a bigger idea at the end of this, but it is also run like the Justice League Unlimited TV show where you have more self-contained ideas with a larger roster. So you are getting a lot of action, a lot of story, and my goodness, a lot of heart, and then pushing what's going to be a bigger narrative coming out through this year. Ghost Machine is continuing their Family Odysseys launch. I say continuing because I'll talk about something a little bit later here from last week because there was a cat emergency. I know that sounds like a little lame, but there's a cat emergency and my heart was hurt. And so I had to kind of take care of that because what I would have been doing here was would have been just like trailing off, thinking about problems. So Hornsby and Halo. This is part of the Ghost Machine line that's been running around. This is Peter Tomasi's line of more all ages, family-oriented storytelling. This Hornsby and Halo is very kind of New Godsy, but in a less cosmic way. Basically, an angel and a demon have basically switched places and are part of a bet as to nature versus nurture. Can a demon be a good person? Can a good person become harder, become mean? And this is about their separation and connection and going forward from there. It has art from Peter Snaesberg, which is really cool. And I'm really excited about that. I'm actually going to try and find. I better have brought it. Okay, good. Brandon. The other part of the Family Odysseys line is the Rockefellers. This is a very Fantastic Four concept in execution and design. I would say with elements of Johnny Quest, which is very similar, but science adventures going on with big ideas and family at the core. It's a lot of fun. It also features Francis Manipul, good old Canadian boy, doing the art. Is Francis Manipul Canadian, or is that Marcus Toe? They're both part of these lines. So maybe they're both. I'm struggling to remember right now. If anyone is so kind to do a wee Google, that would be very appreciated. But yeah, a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun reading this book. And folks who like the Ghost Machine stuff, it is less on the superhero and horror end. So they're kind of covering the spectrum of stories that they're telling. We have Black Canary, best of the best. This is the newest Tom King miniseries. Look at all these Black Canaries. One of them's a shark. You have Tom King, who is great at doing the self-contained story that kind of acts as a perennial story for a character. And Ryan Sook doing all the art. Now, this is a huge deal because Ryan Sook is a guy who is a very slow artist, but his art style is absolutely gorgeous. You can see it on display on this cover here. A lot of emotion and detail. That's really good. And I am very excited for folks to experience this. This is actually very speaking to me because this Black Canary involves professional wrestling, which seems a bit wild, but it actually fits with the story. So it's not like in, say, continuity, but it is a very good Black Canary story where you get to dig into the character and how she acts, how she deals with life, and just a little bit of fun sprinkling of professional wrestling in there, which I think pairs well with superheroes. They're basically like folks in tights doing super fights. And that's fun. We have Batman Santa Claus Silent Night Returns. Last year there was a Batman Santa Claus crossover. This year it continues with Jeff Parker doing the writing and Lucas Kettner doing the art on this one. These stories are so much fun. If you like something lighthearted, Christmassy, with Batman teaming up with the old Jolly Man himself, we've got the noir edition of Absolute Wonder Woman. This is where you get the details all in the sweet black and whites. This is great for people who love process, to like seeing how art works. And alongside that, we have the second printing of Wonder Woman #1, which we ordered just a little bit of because we still have first printings, despite the fact that everywhere else in this city is sold out. And those going for like $15 each, I think. Look at us. Look at us. Having the books that you want, the stories that you want, nowhere else has. Well, we also have this covered by Jeff Spokes, good old local boy from Edmonton, doing some art for the cover of this issue. And #2 of that series is out tomorrow as well. For those of you who enjoyed the first one, I am going to be pushing this series because all y'all are going to enjoy this so much. It has such heart. It has big action. It is just a wonderful book. We also have the third printing of Batman, Absolute Batman #1, for folks who missed out on that, which are considerable amount of you. And finally, from last week, because we weren't here, we have Question All Along the Watchtower. Now, I have a little special treat for you. If any of you folks would like to taste this comic for free, I'll take up to 5 people and you will be able to get your hands on a copy. The reason why I'm doing this is because DC did a little bit of an overship to help promote this book. I want to meet them halfway. If you are interested in this book and don't just want to like have it to have it, please do be considerate for folks who want to read it. Let me know. It doesn't have to be live right now. It can be in a little bit later. Just message us or whatever. Don't be shy if you think they might all be taken. There's no shame or anything like that. I know a lot of places will make you feel bad about not kind of jumping on a thing right away, not paying attention to a thing right away. We want people to discover a story. We want people to dig into things. Now, this question series is about Renee Montoya in her role as a guardian of the jail watchtower. She basically sort of the person who's making sure all of the things are ticking along, and her background as a Gotham detective helps her with an eye on, say, any corrupt elements that might be lingering around. This is a crime story on a satellite. So you've got that sci-fi element, but with a lot of down-home kind of detecting, which I think is really cool. So if anybody of you want that and are able to come into the store and pick those up, let me know. Finally, we're going to talk about this trade paperback, Pine and Merrimack, which is absolutely wonderful. I've been watching a whole lot of crime drama series, and this is right in the heart of these things. Been watching some Rockford Files, been watching some Murder, She Wrote. I've been watching some Columbo, Poker Face, which kind of like is a modern interpretation of that from Rian Johnson, starring Natasha Lyonne. Amazing stuff. This is very much in that vein, with the wonderful Kyle Starks doing the writing, with Fran Galan doing the art. The town of Jamesport is just a simple place with simple people and one horrifying secret that could change everything. After a lifetime of witnessing the worst that humanity has to offer, former homicide detective Leanna Kent has decided to put all of that behind her. Alongside her husband, a former professional MMA fighter, and the unofficial brawn to her brains, she's moved far from the busy city to open up a quiet little detective agency on the corner of Pine and Merrimack. At first, the simple cases this nook of the world has to offer are exactly what she was looking for, but there's more to this quaint hamlet than Leanna could have possibly imagined, and something truly sinister pulling the strings. This is amazing. I love this. Kyle Starks is one of the best storytellers in comics these days, and I'm a sucker for a good crime genre. So yeah, I am going to call it a day there. Thank you all for watching. We had a bunch of people popping up on this Instagram here. I really liked that that was happening there, and yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing actually pretty great. Some family photos came in that had some pictures of me and the girlfriend, and it was kind of funny because, you know, family pictures, we've been like at the time dating for like about 3 months full, and my family, being my family, is like, oh no, you're part of pictures. And so there's a lot of wonderful pictures of me and her, and the rest of the family. As a lot of my family members said, it's not just pictures, it's a moment in time, and we're really trying to communicate that. So yeah, I have some fun photos that I will not put up here because I am not that sharing, if anyone was worried about that. All right. Thank you all for watching. I will be talking with you again soon, hopefully tomorrow, maybe next week on the stream. And if not, then regardless, actually, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that you're all staying safe, and I hope that you pop back here soon. In the next month or so, maybe next week, we'll be changing the format of the show a little bit, maybe the location of the show a little bit, maybe the time of the show a little bit. We'll let you know, and we will talk to you then. Thank you so much. Bye.